Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Cowboys Takeover. And you know it's going to be a great one because it is Philadelphia week. A week we've been waiting for. 3 weeks in the making. We came out after that first matchup with Philly. Philly was riding high and we played them great. And we came up just a little bit short. So this is a week I know we've had circled on our calendars. It's that big rematch, and being here in that Philadelphia area, I know I've heard a lot of it. And I'm going to bring in my co-host, Mr. Aaron James. Mr. Aaron James, I'm sure you've heard a lot of talk this week leading up to the big rivalry matchup with a rematch against Philadelphia. There's really not much a better week up here than Dallas Eagles game week. Mm-hmm. It's a sight to be seen. You showed some of the stuff from last time where when they travel into Philly, the buses they have going in and just everybody going. It's they take it serious here, and I'm sure you've been hearing a lot of smack talk this last week or coming up.
Yeah, well, the fact that the Eagles really got hammered by the 49ers, I think it almost puts them in a dangerous situation, right? Because now they have a chip on the shoulder. The media is saying they can't tackle, they can't play defense, they can't, they're frauds.
The worst case for us, I think. That was the worst case for us. Yeah, San Fran, it wasn't a close game, and Philly didn't come out. They didn't lose last second. They got them butts kicked, and yeah, I think that does kind of, put them in a dangerous spot because they're angry. Their head of security got kicked out the game. So, they're coming in fired up this week going into Big D. But I think we should look. We're talking about this rivalry. Like we said, it was only a few weeks ago that we did play them. So we'll go Eagles, season so far since they've played us. They're 2-1. It was a pretty tough schedule. Buffalo's really – so they beat Buffalo. They beat the Chiefs. And, of course, the beatdown last week. But Buffalo's a team that really – when you look at it, when they won, it wasn't something you weren't sure. But Buffalo's really a team that's on the up and coming. They're starting to turn it around, and any win against Kansas City, I think, is a big win. They still have Patty Mahomes, so they're a good team. And then last week they just fell apart. I was shocked. I should have took the line. I was talking a lot about that -3 line for San Fran. And to me, the line read San Fran because they're coming into Philly.
Yeah.
But, that's a game you can scratch up and just say not going to happen. But, what have you seen over these last 3 weeks of them, though? Like, what have you seen? Have you seen them really change anything, look any different than they did against Dallas? Because we kind of shut them down. Like, I know we lost the game, but I felt like we very much contained that offense again that week.
Yeah, so I have some thoughts on what they've kind of gone through since they played us. So with Patty Mahomes, they've lost to the Packers, they've lost to Denver. I just don't think they're the same team this year. To your point, Patty Mahomes is there, yes, but they've had some interesting, uncharacteristic games this year. So Eagles are able to steal one. When it comes to Buffalo comes in, has 505 total yards. Josh Allen just had an awesome kind of crazy day, but you have that last play in the overtime where there's a miscommunication with Davis for the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah. And even against Kansas City, I think there was one of those miscommunications as well, right? Wasn't there a drop late where Kansas City could have taken the lead late in that game as well?
Yes. And, what I wrote down as far as my notes, I think Kansas City's defense played them the best, just on kind of what I observed. Jalen Hurts only had 150 passing yards that game. And I'll share more kind of what I saw there and what I think the Cowboys can do in this upcoming game. I just don't think that we can learn a lot from the San Francisco blowout because it was a lot of yak.
It was a lot. It was them boys. They really the Yak boys over there. That's something that we have a mutual friend Chris. He pops in here once in a while to watch and check out the podcast. That's something I was telling him because he was telling me Purdy and Purdy for MVP, and I think he's actually leading. And I'm like, dude, I was like, how many? Like, just I get the dude leads and has all these statistical. It looks great, but he gets the ball in Debo's hand. And Kittle's hand and McCat, like, yeah, there's some extra yard. They're tough to take down. Like, so they did that against us too. So it's not even like, I don't even know what to say. Like, only thing I can laugh about was at least they got y'all too, It wasn't just us.
That's true. I agree with you there. And I've seen, I think the best explanation on X, and that is that Dak is doing what he does and making others around him better, whereas Purdy is benefiting from the elite players that are around him.
Oh, he's definitely benefiting, and don't get me wrong, I do think he's a very good player, but it's when you turn into MVP conversations, I don't think you can be the MVP of the league when you're not the MVP of your team. Like, I really think McCaffrey, but they've got a special team. That's why, you and I both said San Fran, Dallas, Philly are the cream of the crop of the NFC or of the NFC. And San Fran has demolished the two other teams. But let's go back into the Eagles. That's who we play this week. I think when we're looking at it, something that the guy second in the MVP conversation, there's a lot of talk about, and it's Jalen Hurts. And how do we slow him down? To me, I don't know what you really changed from what you did last game. Last game, he was efficient passing the ball against us the last time, but he only had 207 yards. He only had 36 rushing yards, I believe. I'm going to pull that one up now again. I think it's 10 rushes for 36 yards. So, and in terms of, DeAndre Swift, we held him in check with 2.4 yards. And you had mentioned before we came on air, that was AJ Brown's first game again, where he was on that hot streak and we held him down. So I think you look a lot at that game plan and kind of try to replicate it. I know you're missing. Micah's not with. I believe Micah was there last time. That was kind of the game. I feel like, but I don't know if you change much. Maybe I try to blitz a little bit more. And I don't want to say stick because the easy thing is stay off the 1 yard line. So Jalen Hurts can't give you the tush push. Like, I feel like you can't stop that. But I think you really try to replicate what you did last time.
Yeah, you got to mix some things in because they're going to look at that tape, right, and make adjustments. I think the Eagles are one of the better teams in making adjustments. They're one of the better second half teams in the league, and we really lost that game in the third quarter, 14 unanswered points. So that's something we have to pay attention to. Going back to how I think the Chiefs played Hurts, and that is a lot of corner blitzes. What Spagnuolo drew up, it was a Super Bowl rematch. And in my opinion, they should have came away with the win, but there were some uncharacteristic things that took place for the Chiefs at home. But so I think you mix in some corner blitzes, which we don't do all that much. Donovan Wilson used to be our DB going in for the sacks. He had 6 sacks last year, or maybe 5, but we're just not seeing that. So I'm hoping, DQ mixes things up a little bit. We have to keep Hurts also in the pocket because I feel like once he goes off his first read, he gets happy feet. He starts looking for a wedge to sneak out and start moving. And he's really dangerous, when he's on the run, whether it's running for the first down or just extending plays. So you got to keep him in the pocket. And we've kind of been talking about this, but I feel like our DBs continue to play too soft on the outside, and we give up pretty easy first downs. So I'd like to see that pick up. But I'm also a little bit nervous because I do think there were some route combinations that the Seahawks showed that the Eagles can replicate. What do you think about that?
That's what I was going to ask too. I think the Eagles, if you're looking at it from the Eagles' perspective, I think you have to look at last week's game and really focus on what they did on their concepts. Like you're saying, the crosser routes, the bigger receiver. It really seemed like Bland just got beat a lot, and they're going to look at that, especially because you have AJ and Devonta Smith. That 1-2 is about as good as anybody in the league. There's a rumor. I think I heard Goddard could be back this week. So he may have his full complement of weapons. I'm a little worried about it because that really against that Seahawks team. Geno's not. He's not Jalen Hurts. I think DK is probably better than AJ Brown, but AJ's right there. I think Devonta's probably better than their guys. So. I get we held them down the first time, but I do think, like you said, they're going to have to take away what they saw last week and really try to fix some stuff. And I think you should blitz. I agree. I want to blitz. I want to get after Hurts because that's when he tends to, it's to any quarterback really struggles more. But Hurts' numbers are real. There's a real dramatic drop off when you're getting to him and getting pressure on him. But it's got to be calculated. You can't just bring pressure because it's got to be contained. Because like you said, he can really kill you with his feet. When he gets out of that pocket, he's so good at extending plays, and he's just a big body. He's tough to get down. So I think Micah has to. I think it has to start with Micah and DeMarcus. They got to get home this week, and that's going to be how you really stop him.
Micah really hasn't had his standout game against the Eagles quite yet. They still have a really good offensive line, and Micah just really hasn't shown that he can overcome really any area yet in that space. So, really hoping that Micah is able to make an impact this game. Would love to see some sacks early in the first half. And for those curious about what the Eagles are talking about in the Philadelphia market and listening to the local radio. The fans are really upset that they haven't been running or they didn't really run the ball against the 49ers. And so passionate that there were even some fans holding up a sign, "Run the ball," as that Sirianni read driving into his office. And Sirianni ended up buying coffee and having someone deliver coffee to those guys. Can they run the ball? The thing that worries me with a team like Philly, and we've seen it all season, they can put 7, 8, 9-minute drives and just drain the clock like nobody's business. So that's what worries me most about that offense.
I'll agree with you there. Yeah, because I don't see it playing out like it played last time. I think they put up 28 points, but I feel like Dallas did a very good job most of the time. I just think it's going to be different. I don't know if you can hold really. I felt like we totally outplayed them 100%. I think everybody agrees and didn't come away with the victory. So it's a little discouraging going into this week. Like, man, you did everything you really could do and you came up short. So it's tough, but I do think, the Eagles, it starts with that offensive line. They're so good. Kelsey could be a potential Hall of Famer. Lane could be a potential Hall of Famer. Mailata's an all-pro. Dickerson, I don't know who their right guard, but they just got so many dogs on that. It's the best in the league for a reason, and it has been for years. So that does, especially missing key players. You're not as big on that defensive line or linebacking core. Mm-hmm. It does worry me some, but we've been doing well against the run for the most part this year.
We did. We really stuffed them on the run last time. I think DQ seems to have his number. Eagles haven't proven otherwise. There's been some speculation that Hurts hasn't blown up the stat sheet because there's questions about his left knee, but I'm not really buying any of that. He doesn't really look hurt to me at all.
No, he looks. Yeah, if he's on the field, I don't care about it. Everyone's hurt. Everyone's got a little bit nicks up here. Yeah, he's second in the MVP race for a reason. He's got 30 plus total touchdowns. Like he's a great player. He's a good player, great player. So to that point, Brett Purdy goes from I think third to tied for first place in the MVP after Sunday's performance. So if Dak has a 40 burger, does he go to number one? I guess I think it depends on how Purdy does. Because right now, last I saw, it was Purdy at 1, and then Hurts and Dak tied at 2.
Okay.
So Dak's right there. I think it's going to be a race coming down the end of this year. For Dak, I want to see the next 5 games. I think that's going to determine his MVP candidacy. He can come out, but if he comes out and has another week like he did last time, 390 and 4 tutters. I don't think it was 4 tutters, but I think it was 3.
Yeah, I think it was against Seahawks.
But yeah, when he came out, against the Eagles last time, he's been putting up yardage. So if he does that, I think he'll be fine. But going into Dak, and if he could win the MVP, not slowing down Hurts, how should this offense attack Eagles? My thought is you don't change much offensively. I'm not changing much. You're going to let Dak throw. You're going to focus on CeeDee Lamb. There's only the biggest concerns of this on how the offense should attack. It's really, I want to finish drives. When you look at last time, this is something we've talked about all year, is this red zone offense. Against San Fran, or against the Eagles last time, Dallas was 3 for 5 in the red zone. And that's been a major issue that we've had all year. And to me, it's not just finishing the drives when you get in the red zone. To me, I also think you can't give up points. There was twice, we lost the game by 5 points. 2 possessions, they gave up an opportunity for a field goal to go forward on 4th down. The second time I get because you're down 5 and you had to. But if you kick the field goal the first time, you just have to kick the field goal the second time. Take the lead. So I think to me, you're going to let Dak do what Dak's been doing over the last 6 or 7 weeks that have propelled him in to the number 2, tied for second in MVP candidacy. And it's finishing drives and taking points. I don't want to go this week. Unless it's like a 4th and goal and you're right there, or it's something super obvious. You got to take the points, every point you can, and then worry about it that last drive if you have to go for it on 4th down. But you got to take points and you got to finish drives that are in the red zone.
Yeah, absolutely. And one point that goes along with that Mike McCarthy mentioned going into the weekend was that with the extra time that they had to prepare, right, 10 days coming off a Thursday night game, that they were going to install, it gave them more time to install more plays. So I would imagine that would be focused around red zone. So I think there should be a correlation there with the extra days, more creativity around red zone play, scoring touchdowns. I think we should start in a kind of a hurry up type of situation because, we gave up 5 sacks last time. Terrence Steele didn't really do that good of a job. Dak was, running a lot from Hassan Reddick in that game. So I think if you come out, you do a hurry up offense, kind of get that defensive line tired for a couple, first downs, and then start to run the ball. I think something like that would help us out a lot. CD had a massive game last go around. I think he still needs to be a focal point. Even in instances, Slay will follow him into the slot. I think even then, CD can win one-on-one with his route running abilities. Of course, so long as they're not going to double team him on the top. But I expect Fergie to have a really good game. Last game, Dak kind of had already his mind made up pre-snap when Fergie was open a couple crucial times. So I expect that to go well. And if things go well and we get up, we're going to have to be successful at the run. We're going to have to be able to drain that clock because Hurts and AJ Brown can really come back pretty quickly. They can get down the field really quickly when they need to, and they're also getting Dallas Goedert back. He's expected to come back, I should say, as we're recording this. So that's a big security blanket for Hurts.
I agree. I think the one to me, I also think I think Cooks has a game this week. Last time we played, he wasn't. It feels like he wasn't. He was still. Even though it was only a few weeks ago, I really feel like he's really even from that game, he's come a long way. I think Cooks is now a problem as well, and they're going to have to account for him. I'm sure they're noticing his step up over the last few weeks. So, man, like they did get to him. The offensive line could play a little bit better, but man, when you go 29-44 for 374, that's a good game. 3 tutters, no interceptions. He didn't, when you watch that game, you're just like, okay, Dax. And I feel like we can say that the last few weeks. So I do think it's more about just finishing drives and taking the points.
Yeah, the Eagles put the ball on the ground a couple times. Again, it fouled their way. I think we come up with at least positive 1 or 2 on the turnover end, and we're able to turn that into points. I mean, this is our 3rd straight home game. We're coming off 10 days of rest. We were just on the brink of beating these guys last time. They really got punched in the face, even though they're coming in a little angry or mad. We have another extra half a week to prepare, and we've been hanging out at home with our family without travel for 3 consecutive weeks. So I think as far as coming into pregame, I think we still have the edge. And Eagles secondary is very suspect. That's where we're strong. I would be surprised if we don't get 33 points this game.
I agree. I'm 100% agree with you there. The one thing I'm a little worried about, and you showed it to me today, you messaged to me. You sent me the message. Do you McCarthy appendicitis, correct? They're saying they don't know if he's going to miss the game. It's possible he may or may not. They're just not sure yet. Do you have any concerns if he does miss the game, because he is the primary play caller? Do you have concerns of how the offense will look if he does miss the game this week?
I do, because I think him and Dak, just the chemistry they've built, and it's shown in the last month, and the trust, it makes me nervous, because even though McCarthy can say, hey guys, I can't make it, but here's the good thing is it's Wednesday. So he could say, he's supposed to have, surgery this afternoon and be able to get out of the hospital today. It's called an acute appendicitis. I'm not sure what the difference is between normal, but a traditional appendicitis, you're out of commish, like you can barely walk, after the operation. I'm not sure why this is different, but even though he gives the playbook and says, here's the playbook, here's the game plan, go get them. It really, you can't really replicate McCarthy's play calling, in situational and his experience. We'd really be relying on Brian. And actually, I should have checked, but I don't know if Brian was he the play caller in Seattle?
I don't know. I don't know if he would have been up there, because I know Pete used to do a lot of it. So I'm just not sure.
Yeah. So a lot of that. So it would concern me. And so I would be nervous going into the game if I knew McCarthy wasn't calling the shots.
See, I think I'm okay with it, because when you look at the guy, there's a lot of they're not head coach, not head coaches, but you have a lot of NFL experience there, because a lot of your guys, Quinn's been a head coach. I get his defensive guy, but then Shoddy and Fossil, they lifelong. So. And I'm sure they sit, they're in all the offensive meetings, all the game plans. I'm sure your offensive coordinator's working with Dak closer than McCarthy is. So I think it's okay. I'm sure they'll bounce some stuff off of each other. I'm sure going through it, he talks with them, hey, what are we looking at in this, from Dak's size? What are you seeing here? And it's, I never thought I'd say it before, but I would trust Dak to go out there and call, get out of it, let Dak. Give Dak the reins. I think that's where I'm not as worried. To me, never thought I'd be saying this about Dak's maturation. But he's really grown on me these last few weeks, and he's stepping up. So to me, as long as we have Dak back there, I think he does, with Shoddy. I'm sure they'll bounce some stuff off each other, and either way, I think they'll be okay. Because I think they'll be fine. regardless if he misses. So looking at it, it's I don't know how much of a bigger game you can get. Right? It's week 14. One team's 10-2, the other team's 9-3. You've lost once. You're both undefeated in the division outside of, Eagles are undefeated, but no, you haven't lost anybody else in the division. Right now, who do you think this game means more for? Who is it a bigger game for?
I really keep going back and forth. I mean, I want to win. Obviously, I want to win the division. I think, obviously both teams are going to make the playoffs. But I'm going to go ahead and go with that. This is a bigger game for the Cowboys. And I said the first time they played they didn't need it for their psyche, but this time they do, because we're in December, we're on a hot streak, we're playing at home, and now it's really, do or die. Gives us the best chance to win the division. And it also puts other teams in the mix and keeps Philadelphia from running away with the playoff race. The one thing we don't want as Cowboys fans is to see the Eagles lock up the 1 seed early and have not only the bye week, but rest a lot of their players even the week before. So you want to keep them in contention. You want to keep them kind of playing hard game after game. Now they do have the easier schedule following. And we have a much tougher one, but but I'm also torn because I would rather go for the NFC for a playoff game. I'd rather go to Lincoln Financial than Levi Stadium.
Okay. So that's the exact reason I think you're wrong. I think it is the Eagles because for it's reasons you stated. Dallas has the tougher schedule. So if Dallas wins, and I'm just trying to be realistic, if Dallas beats the Eagles this week, you're both 10-3. Realistically, Eagles more than likely get one loss max, if that. More than likely sweep out. Dallas may have another loss and 2 in that schedule. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at it just from that point of view, if you're Philly, you want home field, you want to lock it up. If you beat Dallas, you still control your own fate. If you now lose to Dallas, you pretty much lost home field because now San Fran's getting it. Because San Fran has an easy schedule. And once they get that number 1 seed, I don't think they're going to lose it. So for Dallas, I agree with what you're saying about the psyche. And that's kind of where I was a little torn. You don't want to lose twice to a team. But very rarely do you beat a team 3 times in a season.
Yeah.
So even in the rematch in Philly, in that environment, beating a team 3 times in a season is extremely tough and very rare. So for I just don't think Dallas can get the number 1. They really can't get the number 1 seed at this. I just don't see it. It's so hard. I just don't have the confidence in them sweeping the rest of the schedule.
Well, they would have to sweep. They do play Detroit, and the Niners do have the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Ravens.
I see max 1 loss, but they're probably a better team than the Ravens too, so they probably sweep that schedule.
Yeah, probably, but we still have it. You
have a chance. There's definitely a chance, but more than likely, San Fran will still have to lose 1 more game than Dallas. So to me, that's where I'm thinking. Either way, I still don't think Dallas can get that 1 seed. So that's why it's so much bigger for Philly, because you want, you really want to lock up that 1 seed and not have to be, because if you're Philly, you lost to San Fran, you don't want to have to play all the way through week 17.
Well, I think if you're the Cowboys and the Eagles, you want the other team to face San Francisco first. Yes. So I would argue that the 2nd seed is probably just as good, if not better, because you're going to get the highest playoff seed. And the Eagles, if they go in as a wild card, they're going to beat the Saints or the Buccaneers or whoever that is. Then that's going to force them most likely to go to San Francisco. because they'll be the worst seeded that won that wild card round, most likely.
Yeah.
So that would just set us up beautifully, because then we'd have 2 home games, the wild card divisional round, and then ideally, and then likely end up going to San Francisco for the NFC Championship game. So the 2 seed actually probably bodes in our favor quite well.
Yeah. Listen, I want to win this weekend.
I want to win too.
And going prediction time. Dallas is favored by 3.5, which is a half a point more than I thought they would be, because I feel like they're pretty even after last game. But I'll go with my prediction first. I do think the Cowboys win, and I think they cover, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I see a 34-27 game. I think Dak has another very good game, and I think Bland has an interception this week again.
Okay. I got Cowboys winning 36-30.
We're pretty much right there. But I agree. I think it's another close game. They cover the spread, though.
Yes, they do. They've been playing fast. Again, the main thing I'm worried about is if the Eagles, drain a quarter by running the ball, that would lower the overall score. But I do think that Dak will do what he's been doing. There's no reason why he shouldn't be against this secondary.
I agree. I can't say anything bad about the guy right now. He's really looking good. And I don't want to say, and I don't want to say I told you so at the end of the year when he throws that interception. I don't want to do that. I want to see him continue to be great. And I think he could be that against this Eagle. It's one of the worst passing defenses in the league. So, they don't have an answer. I think now with Cooks, the way Cooks is playing, it just Ferguson and Cooks and CD's going to beat, there's just he has so many weapons at his disposal. So I think it's another big week for this Cowboys team. They keep the hot streak at home going.
Absolutely. Let's go, baby. We got this. I'm going to be so pumped. And I was talking with a coworker today. He's like, I'm just going to be pacing all day. Unfortunately for us on the East Coast, we have to wait all the way till 8:20 p.m. So I don't even know how we're going to sleep. We're going to be all jazzed up.
No, I agree, but I can't wait. I'm so ready for it. Thank you all for watching today. This was this week's pregame episode against the Eagles. We're Mr. Aaron James and myself. We both have the Cowboys winning this week, taking it home, matching up and tying up that record at 10-3, going down that home stretch. So we really appreciate you all for listening this week. Go give us a check out on all of our socials. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, the Cowboys Takeover Podcast. Give us a like, give us a follow, and also on our YouTube page, Cowboys Takeover Podcast. Subscribe and like. Go ahead, Mr. Aaron James.
We are now on TikTok. For those of you that prefer and are on that platform, you can follow us on there to get some content and links to our posts.
So we are on and it's Cowboys Takeover Podcast as well?
Yes.
Perfect. And so go give us a like and a subscribe there. I'm going to have to download TikTok now so I can follow a page, get into the TikTok realm. But again, we really thank you all for listening and watching us each and every week. You can also check us out on Spotify or wherever you guys get your podcasting episodes. Give us a like and a follow there and subscribe there. We are building that channel as well. So we're thankful for everybody that's already subscribed and the comments that we get. We truly, from the bottom of our hearts, truly just enjoy it and love it and appreciate you guys for listening and staying with us each and every week. So we'll be back more than likely Monday night with our post game with it being an 8:20 game on Sunday night. It's going to be a late night. So we'll definitely be back live for you guys again Monday night with our post game show. Appreciate you all. God bless. Let's go Cowboys. Let's bring it home this weekend down in Big D.